Well, hey there. Good morning. BT here, and welcome to BT's Corner. It's the 29th of April, and I got a couple of things to say. I have a lot to put into this video, and I'm trying to keep it to 5 minutes, so let me get jumping right into this. The first thing I want to say is I'm not trying to downplay the severity of the coronavirus or COVID-19 or the Wuhan flu, whatever you want to call it. It's a deadly disease, and I get it, and we don't really have all the answers to it yet. And if you've lost somebody to it or somebody you know in your family is sick from it, my heart goes out to you as well as my prayers. And I do understand that. I very recently lost my mother, so the sting of a personal loss is very fresh with me. That had nothing to do with coronavirus, but she's gone nonetheless, so I understand. All right, let me jump right into this. We know that the coronavirus COVID-19 came from China. We don't know whether it truly came from a bat to a person, from a bat to an intermediary to a person. We don't know if it came from the wet market, and we don't know if it came from a lab, whether deliberately or accidentally. And none of that, frankly, matters. Once that damn thing got loose and got out of China, there wasn't anything that we here in the United States could really do to prevent it getting here and then wreaking the havoc that it is now. I want to blame the government, go ahead, but nobody really knew what the hell was going on, including the WHO, the World Health Organization. What I really want to talk to you about today is this phenomenon that we call herd immunity. Now, the best way to explain this is that if you know from your history, in Europe in the Middle Ages and before this big age of exploration, and even during it, there was a thing called the Black Plague or the Black Death. In other things, the bubonic plague. There were a lot of diseases that were common in Europe and wiped out significant portions of European population at the time. And over time, those civilizations in Europe, particularly Western Europe, from where most of our explorers came, developed a herd immunity. When those explorers, particularly from Spain, Portugal, Italy, the Netherlands, England, when they came here to this continent and to South America, they brought with them those diseases. Now, the explorers themselves and the crews of their ships and their passengers, they weren't sick with the disease, but they had that virus with them. When they got here, the native populations got just about wiped out in large numbers because of that. They didn't have any immunities to those diseases, and they certainly didn't have herd immunity. That's the phenomenon I'm trying to explain. It's the best example I can give you of it. Over time, of course, they did develop that, and the European diseases brought here stopped wreaking havoc on those Native American populations. And of course, they didn't wipe out, they didn't wipe out most of the settler populations. They died from other things. So that's herd immunity. We need to achieve it as soon as we possibly can. And my point here is that living in fear, living in isolation, living in this misnamed quarantine is not going to get us there. And again, I'm not downplaying the severity of the disease, but I am saying that the longer we wait, the longer it's going to take to achieve that herd immunity. And the longer we wait, the more severe impact we're going to have on our economy and on our health as a nation as a whole. Let me give you a quick example of that. We got a lot of people who are not going to seek medical attention because they're afraid of catching the coronavirus if they go to the hospital. They're staying away from emergency rooms because we've asked them to, unless they're exhibiting signs of the coronavirus. Well, folks, there's a lot of other diseases and maladies out there besides COVID-19. And that's the biggest thing I want to get across on that. There's a lot of things. We have a population in this country of 328 million people, give or take. And right now, the recorded number of cases is about 1 million, a little over 1 million. That is 0.33% of the population. Multiply that by 10, and we're looking at about 3% of the population that has the coronavirus and maybe haven't been diagnosed with it yet. That's 1% of the population, give or take. I think we are overreacting, and we're hurting ourselves more than we're helping. We need to get to herd immunity as soon as we can. And the response to this has to be made up on the government level of a panel of professionals who are involved in the health industry, the healthcare industry, the logistics pipelines for our food supply and other things that we need. It needs to be made up of farmers and ranchers and business owners, small, large, medium-sized businesses. They are also experts in their fields. And lastly, the point I got to get across, because it's been really bugging me, is where does a government, even under emergency orders, have the authority to decide what business is essential and what business is not essential? You know what's essential? The business you work for, the business you own, the one that provides for you and your family and your well-being and your future. That's what's essential, at least to you. And nobody else should be able to tell you that you or your business or what you do is essential or non-essential. Now, sure, I get it. Doctors and health professionals right now may be far more essential as far as an immediate impact goes than perhaps somebody who stocks shelves at a grocery store or who changes tires at a service station or car repair center. But those are essential to the people who do those jobs. And I don't think government has the right to tell anybody that their business and their way of life is essential or not. And if you want to get a good example of that, you'll notice that the governments have shut down a lot of things. They haven't shut down lottery ticket sales. You know why? Because they get a big cut out of that. They haven't shut down liquor stores. And there's a reason they haven't shut down liquor stores. I happen to agree with it. You know why? Because if they shut down liquor stores, people who are alcoholics and who are dependent on those things just to get through their day, as sad as that may be, if we shut down liquor stores, those people are left out in the cold, and they are going to make a further impact on the health industry and into the hospitals. All right, I'm way over the 5 minutes I allotted myself, so I'm just going to close this out and say, stay safe, stay well, wear a mask if you want to, or you need to, or you think you have to, whatever. But get on with your lives. Don't live in fear. And most of all, when you look at the news, read the news, watch the news, whatever it is, get it from multiple sources. Be informed, not propagandized. Don't take my word for anything. Look it up if you want. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay well. BT here signing off.